Hey everybody, it is Miss Anchors once again back here on February 10th, Wednesday, and I am doing my second hosting gig today for our Professionals by Pathway Career Exploration event. So our goal is to connect you to some awesome jobs in our community. And today we have Grace Duda, I hope I got that right, the marketing manager for Prairie Park, and she's going to tell us what Prairie Park is here in a minute. For our students that are here, don't forget, this is recorded, so if you missed it, you can still watch it. We're going to take the next 30 minutes to learn about this awesome career, and I will be monitoring the Q&A if you guys have questions. So thank you for being here, Grace.
Yeah, thanks.
And I am going to let you just take it over and tell us about you and your job here in Yelm.
Okay, great. I'm going to start my slideshow here. Okay, do you see that?
Yep, I can see it.
Great. So, well, I'm Grace Duda. I'm the marketing manager here at Prairie Park in Yelm. I'm going to start off by sharing a little bit about my work experience, how I got here. So how do I get to the next slide?
Just hit enter on your keyboard.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Nope, it's, oh, there we go. Yep.
Rusty with the PowerPoint. So I started right here in Yelm at the Nisqually Valley News. It was my first full-time job and I learned a lot. I then moved to Olympia and started working for the Auto Pages, doing photo editing and graphic design. And then I started my own photography business and I did a lot of portraits and weddings and lifestyle photography. That was really fun. Eventually I was offered a job at Centralia College where I was able to teach photography. That was amazing, seeing the students grow as photographers and getting to know them as people. It was very rewarding. Then I went to Minuteman Press in Olympia, which is a print shop, and I learned so much there. A lot about print design, some web design, started kind of learning about marketing there. And then I had a little break there and had my daughter Daisy. And once I was ready to get back into the workforce, I started at Living Dreams Yarn. They're a local yarn and fiber company. And then I came to Prairie Park. And
so really fast, before you get started about Prairie Park, where did you go to high school? And when you left your senior year in high school, what was your sort of career path at that point in time?
So I went to actually South Puget Sound through Running Start. I ended up finishing there. And I took a year off and I kind of did some like traveling, road trips, and took a break, and then realized that I wanted to learn more. I wasn't ready, and that was kind of the start of my lifelong learning career. It's funny, after high school, but for me that was when it really took off, and I wanted to study. I didn't know what I wanted, actually. So I was in school for 8 years. I went to Centralia College first. Well, I finished at South Puget Sound, went to Centralia, then I went to Evergreen. I studied photography, art, business, graphic design, eventually printmaking, audio engineering. I was in, like I said, 8 years of school, and kind of didn't think marketing. I thought graphic design was going to be the way I went, and I do use a lot of graphic design in my job now, but that's just one skill that I have. Yeah.
Do you wish in high school, like that junior year before you started Running Start, that there would have been, did you feel like you got the right advice or direction on what you wanted to do? Do you wish you could go back and redo your path, or do you like the way that your path led you to where you are right now?
It's a good question. I think that, so I was a first generation college student, and I definitely kind of had to like figure that out on my own a bit, and having a little bit more guidance. I did have a guidance counselor, but I don't think I was really sure what I wanted, and I needed time to try a lot of things to figure out what I wanted. So I kind of wouldn't change it other than like navigating just academia and, picking my classes and very simple things like that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go to that next slide and tell us about Prairie Park.
Okay. So Prairie Park is the holdings company that owns the Elm Cinemas, the Uptown Lounge, and the Prairie Hotel. In this job, I work really closely with the general managers of each of the businesses. And I feel really lucky to work with really smart, dedicated people who love this community. And so work for all three. And I use a lot of different skills. There's a lot of different marketing skills, but these are some of the ones that I use. So I use strategy planning, copywriting, graphic design, photography, community engagement, analytics and budgeting, and physical marketing. And I know that all sounds like weird mumbo jumbo if you don't know much about marketing, but I'm going to talk about each one and kind of demystify it a little bit because it's all really fun, in my opinion. So strategy planning, let's see, I have some notes, let me make sure. So when the pandemic hit with the Uptown Lounge, we were no longer able to do indoor dining, and we shifted into outdoor dining and wanted to get the message out. We were on a time crunch. It was happening very quickly, and we wanted it to be really quick and easy for people to understand what we were doing. And so we came up with this dine outside. Kept it very simple using the graphic from the background of the lounge. And it went really well. People really responded to it. And then here's a photo of the outdoor dining as well. And then recently we have shifted back into indoor dining. And so we used that same graphic, but it was dine inside instead of outside. So there was some familiarity there already, and it was easy for people to understand the message that we were trying to convey. And then started showing delicious photos of our foods.
Oh, yeah, I've never gone to the Uptown Lounge for food, but that burger looks amazing. It's making me hungry right now.
It is amazing. I actually had it last week for lunch, and it was incredible.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, is the lounge family friendly, or is it 21 and over?
It is 21 and over.
Okay.
Yep.
Got it.
Next is copywriting. So copywriting is just basically writing with a purpose for advertising. I use it all the time for social media posts, signage, printed materials. Here's an example of an event that we did, and here's the description that I wrote out for that. So some key things that I wanted to convey here was the time of the event, how people can engage with it while still, making it fun and easy to digest. So I personally had a lot of hangups around writing growing up, and like even at my time in Evergreen, which is very, very writing focused. And it wasn't until I started doing copywriting at Living Dreams that I realized all it is just communicating with people. And I love that. I love talking about feelings and communicating and all that stuff. So I would say that if you struggle with writing, know that you can improve, and it doesn't have to be a scary thing like it was for me. That's something I wish people would have told me. So. Okay, and the next is graphic design and photography. Some marketing managers don't do graphic design and photography. I just happen to have a background in it, so I do that a lot in my job. And so this is a banner that I designed when we reopened. One thing with any type of marketing, you can reuse the graphics that you create. So I made this originally for a banner to go in the cinemas, but then we also used it for Facebook cover photo. We put it on our website. I've used elements like the little popcorn friend down there. So just because it's, you make one thing, you can get multiple uses out of it. So that is, and then here's the photo is just, showing the banner in the space, showing people interacting, coming into the cinemas. So there's photography and graphic design. So another important part of my job is community engagement. And when the pandemic hit, we started doing our drive-through popcorn sales. And that was really fun. People were excited to get out, and do something. And I noticed that this picture here of the dog in the bow tie was getting a lot of attention online. And so I made an event that was pet edition of the popcorn
Oh,
drive-through.
that's awesome. That's very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it was really fun. People brought out snakes and ducks and some crazy animals, and I was able to be there and I got to take pictures of everybody, and then we posted it on our Facebook page and people got to vote for their favorite pet. And
Now, on the business side of that, to use that dog's picture, like to use that in your campaign there, what did you have to do to get permission for that dog?
yes, I just reached out to the owner. She had she kind of is a regular of
Yeah.
ours, and asked if we could use it, and she said, oh yeah, definitely. And I just cut him
Yeah.
out, and yeah, it was a really fun event, and it was a great way to engage with the community in just a silly way that doesn't necessarily have much to do with popcorn or movies, but it just brings people together, and we love
Everybody
that.
loves their pets. So really fast, when you create these, what softwares are you using to create your like promotional pieces? So like, what did you use to create this?
Yeah, I used
Specific thing?
InDesign. I pretty much, most of my design work is done in InDesign, but I do use Illustrator and Photoshop. I use Photoshop a lot, like having, cutting out the dog, cutting out the popcorn. But the actual layout is almost always done in InDesign.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And then analytics and budgeting. So analytics is just kind of a way to see how people are responding. There's a lot of data that can go into it to figure out who the audience is that we want to market to. This was a post that was just a simple, I'll take 3, please. And people, you can see there was over 3,000 people reached, 337 people engaged with it. And so on Facebook, you can boost a post, which basically gets you in front of a larger audience, kind of the way the algorithm works. And so I put a $6 budget, which is a very low budget. And my objective was to just get more engagement. And so over here on the right hand side, you can see the cost per post engagement is 18 cents per engagement, and that's a really good rate. There's a lot of like just seeing what people are responding to and seeing what works, and then putting your money that you have for your budget into those posts, because then
So do
you'll
you
get more
have to
engagement.
pay do you have to pay for, so like there's not a lot of people talk about the business side of Facebook and how those posts and algorithms work, of how you see that in your Facebook feed. So if you go to take your Facebook feed, do you pay to get that boosted, or how does that work?
Yeah, so you can see at the top here where it says boost again,
Yeah.
that is the engagement that it received overall. And then underneath the boost, that is what we paid. We paid $6 to boost it. So we were already getting a lot of engagement, and that boost just got it in front of other people. And you can choose who your audience is. For this one, I don't think there's not a screenshot of it, but for this one, it was the people who like Yelm Cinemas and their friends.
Got it.
Yeah.
So we just had a question, and it said, is the cinema owned by Prairie Park? And yes, Prairie Park has 3 entities that it owns. It's the cinema, Uptown Lounge, and the hotel.
Yes. Yes. Any other questions on?
That was just that one.
Okay, cool. And then physical marketing, which is really kind of a fun little part of my job where actually creating spaces. So on the left here, the Yelm Chamber of Commerce had lights at night, and people put up their their lighting displays, and we did a giant martini glass and giant olives and lit it up. And we have the sign here that has, our branding. And then on the right-hand side, the hotel, this is also a chamber event. There was the selfie spot, and people could come and go all around Yelm and take holiday selfies, and they could win prizes by posting the hashtag for each of the business in the chamber. And then I think it was Yelm Holiday Selfie was the hashtag. So that's the physical marketing part of it.
Very cool.
So in conclusion, there's there's, like I said, many types of marketing, but these are the kinds that I use in my job every day. And I would just say that marketing in general is a very rewarding career. It has been for me. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of variety. There's new challenges that I get to figure out every day, and it's very, very fulfilling. And if you have any questions.
Well, there's no questions there, but I will definitely ask you some questions. So if you want to stop sharing, we can go ahead and stop sharing and get us going there. So I guess my thing for you is what is the best part about your job? What do you love about your job?
Can I say multiple things?
Oh yeah, there can be
Yeah.
multiple things.
Okay. So I love that I get to work with so many different people, and I get to work with, like I said, really smart people who are also dedicated to the community. I love that Prairie Park gives back in a lot of ways. Um, I love that I get to use all of my skills. For a long time, doing graphic design and photography, not so much, but graphic design, you're behind the computer a lot and not really interacting with people. And I love interacting with people. I'm a very social person, and to be able to use those skills as well as my, technical skills is very, very rewarding for me.
So we had another question. Why did you choose marketing over all the other things in the world? Like why did you settle on, I love my job, I love doing the marketing pieces of
Yeah.
it?
It was a long process. Like I said, I didn't quite know what I wanted to do. I first started studying business and I was pretty bored. And then got into art, and that was kind of my path for a long time, was fine art. And but I've always loved technology. I've always, like, I was in the 90s on, like, chatting in chat rooms and stuff like that, and um always loved technology. And so graphic design was it was offered at Centralia College, and I loved it. I loved my professor, Penny Martindale. And and then just kind of did that because that's what I knew how to do. And then when I was working at Minuteman, I really liked strategizing with my clients and kind of helping them figure out what they needed for their business, and started just using my brain in a different way and got over that fear of writing. And um, when I took the job at Living Dreams, it was actually more of a photography based job, but there was potential for marketing. And I ended up within a month or two totally doing their entire social media, and realized it's much more than design. I still love the design. I love photography, but getting to think a little bit more and strategize a little bit more was kind of the thing that made it,
Yeah.
you know.
Moved you there. So we have another question, and the student asked, do you need to have a photography as a minor, like to do a marketing career? Like if you went to school, would you to be in the job that you have right now, like, do you have to have a marketing degree? Could you earn the skills on your own? Does your photography because it sounds like photography is sort of your passion. Do
Mhm.
you feel like in that field, do you need to have a photography minor, or how would that help you?
I don't think that it's necessary to have as much photography experience as I have, although it is very helpful. You Strong visuals are a huge, huge part of marketing, just as important as the writing, I would say, sometimes more when people are scrolling through social media. So like having a general understanding of photography and be able to produce, decent photos, I think is really what you want. Um, I would, if you want to get into marketing, I would try to get an internship. I would try to get any type of real world experience. Um, I did a lot of volunteer work when I was at the auto pages. I knew I wasn't wanting to stay there. I loved my job, but I knew I wanted to kind of shift into something else. And so I volunteered at the Olympia Film Society and was able to do a totally different type of graphic design. And, having that experience helped me kind of shift into that career. So I think just like find an organization that you feel really excited about and see if they need help. See if they have somebody doing their marketing, maybe they will um, want an intern and help teach you. That would be my advice. But I'd also, I would go to school, go to college and experience all that because that is really lovely too.
If you could go back and give your younger self some advice about your career path or how to be successful or what it takes, what advice would you give to yourself or to a student now?
Um, I would say to really kind of find out who you are and find out what really gets you excited. I think I know I had a lot of anxiety growing up, and I think just like giving myself the time and space to figure out what I wanted, which is what I ultimately did. But I felt a lot of anxiety around it. Like I needed to have a career by I was 21 or whatever it was. I think that's not the time to do that. When you're young, when you're, getting out of high school or even in high school, like it's the time to explore and figure out what you want to do, not what other people want you to do.
What does your average day look like? So what do you spend your time doing with on a daily basis?
Yeah. Well, it changes a lot, but I spend a lot of time writing social media posts and thinking about the strategy, what we want. I meet with the managers, I meet with our COO, and there's a lot of communication that happens over email, the phone, sometimes in person, not so much now. And um, I do, at least once a week, I'll go to the lounge and I'll take photos of some yummy food or cocktails or people, um, and just try to like have fresh content all the time. Try to stay in touch with the managers so I know, what kinds of special things are happening and what we want to tell the community. So a lot of interacting, a lot of writing, and a lot of design.
So social media is such a huge thing in the world now, I think. What tips would you give if like a student had like a mini business that they wanted to start getting on social media, or what
Mhm.
are things that you think people like to see on social media? And how
Yeah.
do you use that? Like what's your favorite, your like the best thing about social media for you or what you enjoy about it? Because we all
Yeah.
you hear the negative to it, but what's the positive to it?
Yeah. So to answer your last question, what the best thing about social media for me, it's very easy to find community and like-minded people through social media. Um, Hashtags are a great way. You can use hashtags and people can find you that way, or you can search hashtags and find people who like the same weird yarn you're into, or whatever it is that you're into. it's a really great way to connect. I believe in community over competition. So like promoting other businesses, promoting other entrepreneurs, like not just, it's great to have people in your field who are doing the same type of work as you, because we inspire each other. And yeah. And what was your first question? Sorry.
Oh, if like tips for posting or just the use of social media, I get it was more,
Yeah.
I can't even remember. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, so I do use a couple, I use Buffer, and I've also used Later, which are like social media management software. And basically you can plan out your posts in advance. So sometimes I'll plan a month in advance. When I was at Living Dreams, I would plan a month in advance. Here it's it's a shorter time span because things change a lot. With Living Dreams, they have a product and different launches, and it really depends on the industry too. And as far as like platforms too, like we use Facebook a ton here because that's what a lot of people in Yelm engage with. And with Living Dreams, we use Instagram a lot more. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we've got about 4 more minutes. So I'm going to ask the students that are in here if they have any more questions. So if you want to pop those in, you can. And then my last question for you, and then we'll wrap it up, is what are 3 things that you think are valuable in being a good employee or seeking a job? And then actually 2. So like, what are your top 3 skills that you think everybody should have when going into a job or possess in some way?
Mm-hmm.
And then if nobody has been to any of your businesses, which if you live in Yelm, I'm pretty sure you've gone to see a video, why should they come to the places?
Okay. So let me start with the last question.
Okay.
So why you should come is, so you can't come to the lounge if you're under 21, but once you are, or anybody who's over 21, we have like very delicious food and really interesting craft cocktails. We have one with like gummy worms coming out of it, and we have, I won't talk too much about the cocktails because
yeah.
but it's a great all-in-one experience, getting to have a delicious meal and then getting to go to the cinemas. They're right next to each other. We do have a lot of people come down from Tacoma, Seattle, and sometimes they'll stay at the hotel and go to all 3 businesses. So I would say that. The cinema also has recliner seats and unlimited popcorn and soda, which nobody really has around here. And we also cook everything in coconut oil, and we use real butter, topped with real butter. So if people have food allergies, that's a plus. As far as the skills, I would say kind of one of the biggest things is communication, being able to talk to people, being able to understand, and sometimes helping other people pull information out of them is something that I do a lot and I think is beneficial. I would say just kind of general computer skills, being able to email, Word, the web, all the basic stuff is important. And then I'm going to say again, writing, even though it was a big one for me, it was hard, but it's really important to be able to communicate through words and not just through not through verbal language. So yeah.
Yeah, those were great. I think sometimes kids think of writing as just like, oh gosh, I got to write a paper for my English class, but it is used in so many different ways. And then to be able to get your message across without all the extraness in the wording is also a great skill. Well, hey, Grace, thank you for taking your time. I'm definitely going to check out the cinema this year and probably Uptown Lounge, but it was great meeting you, and look forward to maybe connecting again, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, thanks for having me.